Hello and welcome back to another game day here for ESC League of Legends. I'm James Reach42 Davis.
And I'm Devin the Doc O'Connor.
And wow, what a big weekend for esports and gaming here on campus here at Miami University. Right now, we've got GeekCon happening in the Armstrong Student Center. If you're a student here on campus and you wanted to play some board games or some social games, they have all of the ballrooms on the third floor here of Armstrong booked up and set up for just a weekend of cool gifts and trivia and prizes, and it looks like a lot of fun up there. Meanwhile, over in the Shriver Student Center, or the Shriver Center, Smash Ball is happening, one of the largest Smash events that our Smash Club puts on. That one is streaming over at twitch.tv/. @mu_smash, I believe. If you wanted to keep up with the progress of the Smash Ultimate tournament happening over there, I believe it's been an interesting time, a very competitive bracket with some new and old faces showing up and putting in some good performances. So if you're interested in that, I recommend checking that as well. And then tomorrow, we have a day long Battle of the Bricks charity stream in benefit of Extra Life. We are going to be raising money for Cincinnati Children's Hospital in conjunction with Ohio University as we play a variety of social games, including Fall Guys and Mario Kart 8, as well as some of our competitive titles like League of Legends for the ESC, Overwatch 2 for the ESC, Rocket League for the CCS, and then finally, we're going to be debuting on this channel a Marvel Rivals show match between Ohio University's club team and our top club team. Very much looking forward to that. That's going to be starting here tomorrow on my twitch.tv/Miami University at 11 a.m., running probably until about 7 or 8 p.m.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. Make sure you tune in, support the charity. It's a really good organization. It's gonna be really great. So make sure you don't miss that. But in regards to that, the all the events you mentioned, I was just walking around Armstrong before this, and I was like seeing all kinds of cool cosplay. You know, I was just walking down the hallway, and I'm like, whoa, there's some like Greek gods that are passing by. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Make sure you check that out if you get the opportunity.
Yeah, and I think I saw some merch for sale down in the atrium as well. So once again, if you're interested in anime and geek stuff and board games, uh, Armstrong Student Center is currently the place to be. So come and check that out. Meanwhile, we have here a match between Miami University's Varsity League of Legends squad and Western Michigan. Now, Western Michigan has been struggling a bit in the recent weeks, it looks like, with tough run ins with Buffalo and Northeastern, NIU, and I think Ball State.
Well, those are no teams to scoff at,
Yeah,
but
for
yeah,
sure. Where Miami is still running on its undefeated run. I
yeah,
believe we had Kent State last Wednesday.
yeah.
If you want to talk a little bit about how that match went.
Yeah, of course. So that match was a bit, yeah, it was competitive, but I think Miami showed that they started off at a bit of a rocky start. We had that one game rescheduled, so it was only one game last week, so they didn't necessarily have that same momentum that they had going into it. But they showed that they were able to hop back on the same mindset really quickly, and they had a really dominant performance, especially towards more of the game too. So it was a 2-0. Miami now has only dropped one total game
Hmm.
in their series that they've played so far. So they've been looking really dominant, working really well as a team, and I love to see what they've been getting up to. I think they've played such a wide variety of team comps at this point. You know, at the beginning it started to seem like, oh, maybe it was a bit more formulaic with the champions that we were choosing, but I think now, especially with some of the patch notes that have come through, it seems like Miami's done a great job adapting to the new meta and playstyle.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting looking at the draft for this upcoming game. It looks as if we've got some possibly contested picks. Anivia seems really popular from
Yeah.
Western Michigan's mid laner and has always been a mainstay for Quagert,
Yep.
Miami's mid laner. And then Garen looks like it might be a contested pick in the top lane as well.
Crazy, crazy to say that. Yeah, Final Boss of Ohio looking really fun on this pick. He loves to do kind of a proxy in the enemy base strategy that gives me a heart attack every time. Yeah, so definitely going to have to keep an eye on that as well as my beats per minute. But yeah, and then the final thing that I thought was really interesting, not necessarily a contested pick, but a bit of not an unorthodox one, but one you don't see that often. So it seems like the support from Western Michigan really likes the Tark pick, which I respect a lot. Tarek was one of my pocket picks back in the day when I used to play support like 20 years ago. But yeah, no, I think that champion can be incredibly effective, especially in these extended fights with the
Mhm.
way this champion functions. As long as you're autoing and you're consistently getting that queue up, it's really hard to um, take down like an ADC or something if it's more of an extended fight and you don't have a lot of upfront burst damage. So if that was something that would come out, I think it has to change the way Miami chooses to approach these fights because it definitely can be something that can get the best of you if you're not prepared for it.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Miami has generally enjoyed playing sort of divier comps
Yeah.
in the past couple of weeks, and I think Tarek works really, really well as sort of a catch
Yeah,
character.
for
That
sure.
if you try to engage into him, he's got all of that time to activate his ult to stun the people that are diving onto his squishy carry, and peel for the whole team. So we're gonna have to see how Miami adapts around that sort of thing. If the Tarek is able to get through in draft, which
It might.
I have no idea what the priority here is going to be for this draft because I mean I know from the side of Western Michigan, I think we're definitely going to be seeing the,
HBTX.
the
Yeah.
the HBTX will definitely be target banned out. We probably won't see the Mad Clown Shaco or the ghostly Karthus.
Yeah, no, those usually do not have a place on the Rift, unfortunately, because when he does get a hold of those picks, he is just terrifying. So, much like the picks themselves. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that that's something that both teams are going to have to watch out for in this draft. It's going to be pretty important. We'll see how teams choose to prioritize it. And also, given the recent patch, we touched on this a little bit last stream. A lot of Miami's or certain champions from Miami have been affected by that. So we'll see how they choose to work around that and see if they can find new picks or picks that they were utilizing towards the beginning, and maybe wrap around and try some of those again.
Yeah. So anyway, we are currently waiting on the lobby to be officially created or officially started. We are going to go to a quick be right back. Don't go anywhere. We'll return when the draft starts. are back. It is time for the draft, and it looks like we've already got some bands going. So, Western Michigan is going to be playing on the blue side, meaning they have the first pick. Miami is playing red side, and we see a lot of those bands as expected. Shaco and Karthus have been taken off the table. The Fiora ban is a bit more interesting,
Mhm.
and it's nice to see Miami respecting the Tarek and the Anivia.
So
Viego's interesting.
that's the Garrett or Garen going to be first picked, which is pretty bold because Garen is something that while he is pretty consistent in lane, he can be really punished by certain picks if Final Boss of Ohio decides, whoa, that's that's just a
Ooh.
quick one too. We see the Bell, that's another HBTX special, and yeah, I mean we've been seeing a lot of Cassante just like normal in pro play. It's incredibly powerful, really good in a lane swap situation, and then we do see in turn the Amumu locked in a really good team fighting. Uh, Asset and Amel being hovered, she was also really changed by the last patch. She was, in my opinion, made a lot worse.
Hmm.
I think that her ult, every part of her kit was made worse except her ultimate, which is buffed. But I think despite looking really strong on paper beforehand, I think after this patch, she's really kind of gotten to a more healthy
Right,
style.
right.
Yeah, so Quaker going to respond with that. Uh, Oriana, sorry, that is really great. It's amazing for this team comp specifically because HPTX has so much mobility in these fights. He can kind of dip dash in and then immediately proc the E, which gives him damage reduction and it'll also set up really nicely for the shockwave with a slow.
Hmm.
Lord Bonk Bonk could be locking in that Zeri, another pick that we're seeing a lot in pro play even now. Has a lot of mobility, is good for these team fights to respond, and it's just going to be really slippery.
And the Vayne Renata bot lane combination here from Western Michigan, definitely an interesting pair of picks. Speaking of mobility, also bringing in the Zeri. Now it looks as if Miami is looking to be playing that sort of divey comp again,
Mm-hmm.
with Belveth, Oriana, and Leona sort of as your main go buttons, with Cassante and Zeri as being mobile options for extending the fight around everything.
Mm.
Uh, Now, the Renata is generally pretty good at catching dive because the Renata ult can completely swing a team fight by making all of the enemy's team fight each other.
Yeah, Miami
Uh,
has a bad habit of getting caught by that,
yeah.
which is interesting. But I think that it's not amazing into the Zeri, but it's really good into the Belveth. When she gets to stack up that attack speed, she can kind of just melt through her own team. She get caught in the crossfire, but she is incredibly mobile with those Qs, so she can kind of. And I've seen HBX do it before, just kind of dodge those skill shots throughout a fight and become a really impossible target to hit, which is, you could say, a lot of members of Miami. Because Sante, after the change, is really not as much like that,
Hmm.
but really having a bunch of dashes and a bunch of mobility is really going to be the crux of this Miami comp, making it harder for Western Michigan to hit these really important skill shots. And I think that's going to be really pertinent as well in the Mel,
Hmm.
because hitting her root is actually pretty tough. It is generous and it does have a slow, but to hit the part of the root to guarantee your full combo
Hmm.
on her, even with like some of all the craziness that's happening in the fight, it does take some patience. And if there's a lot of mobility, it's going to make that just that much harder.
Yeah, and I mean with the Amumu into the Belveth as well, Amumu's kit really is centered around landing one big skill shot to start out a fight. His
Mm-hmm.
his bandage toss is like a line skill shot that stuns and drags himself to the enemy character. Um, and with the number of dashes that Belveth has, where they can get around these situations, it's going to be very interesting to see how exactly HBTX on the Miami side decides to play the early game, because it's been a bit of a Miami special this semester where we pick scaling compositions,
Mm-hmm.
compositions that do very well in the late game after picking up items and stacking various passive effects. But HBTX generally invades the enemy jungler very early,
Very
plays
true.
very aggressively, and just sort of wants to rely on his individual mechanics to carry him through uh, kind of coin flippy situations. But
Yeah.
he's able to make these coin flips kind of rigged in our
Yeah.
in our
Yeah, he
situation.
builds up a lead through taking what the enemy jungler normally uses. So all these camps, all these buffs are something that he uses to kind of soft deny them gold and then make himself and his lead even that much more prevalent. Another thing to mention too is that going back to the Mel pick, which I
Hmm.
think it's something new, so it's fun to talk about. It really doesn't. There isn't much on Miami's side that would benefit, like that Mel would benefit from reflecting from. Like there really isn't these huge ultimate slash skill shots that would really make it super annoying. Like if Miami was playing the Renata, it would be insane. Like
Right.
like it would be
Yeah.
like you could just take that ultimate and then just shoot it back.
Hmm.
But I think there isn't a ton that comes to mind that you can really reflect besides maybe like an Oriana ball occasionally or maybe a couple skill shots from the Zeri. But I don't know. I feel like, I mean, while it is still a really strong ability, we haven't really seen it in the league. A big part of it too is also knowing when to press it, and
Mhm.
when there isn't something super choreographed on the enemy side that you're going to be wanting to block every fight, it kind of makes it so you're down an ability almost.
Yeah, I mean, the interaction with Mel that I am always just delighted by is when she reflects Leona E,
Oh yeah,
which is the shield dash thing, where if Mel reflects that ability, she will actually dash to the Leona,
yeah.
and that can toss a whole fight if
Yeah,
you're
that
a
could be
Mel.
really bad. Like I've seen it similar to that. If Mel would reflect a Silas E,
Mm.
she would then Silas E towards the Silas, and Silas loves that.
Right,
And
right.
Mel would be really unprepared to deal with any of that because you want to be far range. You have a ridiculous amount of range on your Q. You want
Hmm.
to work on building slowly those overwhelm stacks to be able to get to the execute threshold or maybe proc it with your R. But if you're just kind of tossed all of a sudden into the entire enemy team, I think Miami isn't going to be complaining.
Yeah, so definitely looking forward to see if we see that interaction here in this game. While Miami does have that Leona support that does favor sort of the level 3 through 6 roam. I mean, I think once you hit level 3, the Leona probably should be roaming
Yeah,
a good amount.
yeah.
So
Bean seems to like to do that as well.
yeah, so we definitely should be seeing interaction between Mel and the Leona. It's just figuring out um, if
What
the
time?
yeah at what time, and if the Western Michigan mid laner has enough discipline to hold that reflect for the proper moments. So I believe that we are starting to get into the game fairly soon. We may want to take a quick break, but I mean,
Yeah.
never mind. We are going directly into game right now,
Oh,
and
okay. That worked out well. That
and
doesn't usually happen.
yeah, and here we are on the Rift, uh, trying to see if there's anything terribly surprising. And I mean, all of the setups look fairly standard, except for maybe the
Garen.
yeah phase rush Garen with Ghost.
I like Phase Rush though.
Yeah,
Phase Rush is good. I think the ghost part is not good. Like he wants to full opt into speed. I am like I've mentioned this before on cast. I'm a Garen enjoyer, and I think the ghost is a bit unconventional simply because you want that pressure with the ignite in lane, especially into like Asante, because it'll give you a bit more kill pressure once you get to that level 6. Because that's really kind of your bread and butter is getting to your execute threshold with your R, and you can get an early kill and kind of snowball that into an advantage for the rest of the game. But if you don't have that pressure into a pick like Asante, who's already notoriously really tough to get down low,
hmm
then he's just Asante is just going to be end up being more useful than you in every aspect.
right. Especially with the teleport advantage. Now HPTX is going in for some of the early vision, marking one of the wards that Western Michigan has placed down to defend their own jungle. But we did get the ward into the enemy, the red buff there. So it's going to be interesting to see if Miami's going to look to invade. It looks like HPTX is hovering around as if he maybe wants to invade the enemy Raptors right here at level 1. That'd be a pretty big take, and definitely set the Amumu behind, because Raptors is one of the better camps for Amumu to be clearing with his W and his E.
Yeah, you make a really good point. I think that especially with him starting in the blue side of his jungle, I think he's gonna be in for a rude awakening because now HBTX with the deep vision that they were able to acquire and that mini invade knows that he's gonna be starting on that blue buff.
Now, Western Michigan will get some pretty quick information once HBTX has stolen the red buff.
And he's on that ward, I believe,
Yeah,
that they placed
he,
earlier.
he won't be on vision yet until he clears it. It's just a question of whether or not he's going to actually be seen on his way towards the Krugs. Now, a little bit of trading happening in both the top and bot lanes, but I'm not expecting a lot of early scrapping, because the Renata definitely wants the Leona to go in. The big question is whether or not Beans is going to get bored enough
Well,
to
once
just
you
go.
once you hit level 2 on Leona, it's a unique feeling where you're just like, if there's an angle there, I'm taking it. But
Right.
Beans is disciplined enough to know that probably not a great idea to go under their own tower. But yeah, Final Boss of Ohio takes in some pretty favorable early trades. Casante, just kind of a bully, even though he's tanky. Final Boss of Ohio playing it very well, getting that grasp trade. Wolfblood going for an invade of his own here.
Yeah, it looks as if Wolfblood might have been able to take the HBTX's Raptors in the process, and now BTX is coming in to check in on his own red buff. Wolfblood was able to get the smite, but is probably looking to lose his life over it. Oriana rotating over. Now the flash being used by both junglers. Final Boss of Ohio in pursuit, as well as Quagert looking to take out this sad mummy. And first blood goes over to Miami University.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going to get punished that HBTX was quicker on the back to be able to get the reset off and then just finds him. And Bean's going in as well.
Yeah, now here's the very quick engage. Hitting level 3, the Big House having to use the Renata revive on himself, but is unable to get the kill onto Beans, who's able to get in and get out unscathed with that level 3 power spike. So that's a big advantage there for Miami, taking the first 2 kills here. If they get, what, it's one more for the feats of strength?
Yeah, so it would be 3 kills for the feat of warfare, and then yeah, it would really depend on the objectives and whoever gets the first short. But how things are going right now, it looks pretty Miami favored. Final Boss Ohio just bullying him. Like I said, without this ignite, it makes the lane not as feel as one-sided as it would normally. Like Cassante is annoying, obviously. Oh, Quaker gonna walk into that one. But with the ignite, it gives you a little bit more ability to play more aggressively. But with the grasp, I think that Final Boss of Ohio is just not in
Oh
any
no.
position to be afraid, and he's just going to get the Fleet of Warfare right there with the top solo kill.
Yeah, that's just absolutely wild. I mean, it looked like it was just a traditional top lane, big meaty men slapping meat kind of situation, without the ignite pressure on either side. But Xtopa just really didn't respect Final Bosses of Ohio's damage output there on the Cassante. And, I think that Final Boss of Ohio might get into a little bit of trouble once that Garen gets to the level 6, where he can just execute with a giant, sort of Justice of Demacia.
Yeah, it's Kale's sword, actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, Lord.
she sends it.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like
The
okay.
handshake's going to miss there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bean's not going to find anything in return, maybe just trying to get the wave a little bit weaker. Lord Bonk Bonk just trying to catch this wave here as well. And yeah, like you said with the top lane, Final Boss of Ohio, the Q Cassante proc, his passive allows you to do percent max health damage. If you hit that auto, combined with the grasp, just does so much damage with each auto. Bean's looking for something on the bot side.
Yeah, it looks like we're possibly going into a 3v3 fight here in the bot lane. Now, Wolfblood going in deep on the on HPTX, gets him very low, gets the kill, and might get the reset here as well. It's just going to be a question of whether or not Lord Bonkbok can get the trade kill here at the very end. But no, that is a triple kill for the Sad Mummy. Not going to be neglected for Prom any longer. Has a nice lead going in here into the later stages of the early game.
Yeah, large amounts of gold going to be acquired there from the Amumu. A pretty quick mask pickup there in base, and no one's going to be complaining about that. And I think the Renata, really, the the bailout changed the course of that fight because, well, I think it was already looking not great for Miami. The reset was able to be able to be acquired at just like the very last sliver of time, which made it so everyone was up on the side of Western Michigan to clean up that fight and make it a 3-0.
Yeah, I mean it. Ooh, HPTX here going for another aggressive fight. Is a roughly even in items, but a Renegade gang here for Western Michigan is going to be there to support Wolfblood as they encroach here on HPTX's territory. Misses the Q, misses another, and HPTX is able to walk out with just a sliver of health. In what could have been a really, really awful situation for him. But now Miami collapses and looks to try to kill Wolfblood and the Renata Glass here. We'll see if Final Boss of Ohio can get the last bit of damage, and Leona gets a double kill. That's going to be a big support here for the side of Miami.
Yeah, and Leona, not exactly the person that you'd want that onto, but it's just going to make it so maybe stop some of the bleeding. And it's a really positive play for Miami. Good by Final Boss of Ohio to have the agency to roam for that play. We see a little bit of a reflect there. Quaker doing pretty well, manages to dodge that route there. And yeah, it's kind of an annoying lane to play, but Quaker navigating this pretty well. Similar to like Quay,
Yeah.
Mel has incredible amounts of range, poke, and maybe Final Boss of Ohio looking here.
Yeah, this is going to be a really close one because Final Boss of Ohio and oh my goodness, Quaker able to get the solo kill under turret there onto Noah. Now I was about to say, in the trading process, Cassante generally gets himself fairly low, and Garen absolutely loves it when enemy characters have low amounts of health because that ultimate damage does scale off of your enemy's missing health.
Yeah.
So the lower your health bar is when you're fighting a Garen, the more likely it is that you're just going to get one shot by that ultimate. But it looks as if it's going to be a positive elixir trade here for Cassante, as they go. Garen burns his flash, nearly has all of his health gone, and we're going to see if he's going to try to dive this maybe.
Maybe. It's a little tough. I think Garen could be kind of deceptive with his W.
Oh, we've got a level 6 HPTX here into, okay, he just popped 6 off of that. That's unlucky for HPTX. I mean, he should have known, I guess, that the Amumu was going to be that close to sealing the deal there and getting his ultimate back online. But if the ultimate hadn't been picked up there at that exact moment, HPTX could have just walked Amumu down.
Yeah, I mean HBTX with the Conquer would be favored in that. Um, the Amumu, but he does have pretty even items in terms of maybe with that early triple kill. Amumu, you could say was even ahead in that, but with the ult really turn the tide. Quaker going to take a tower shot there while looking for more. Lord Bonk Bonk trading autos down here.
Yeah, and now Renata does have level 6, so this is sort of favored in Western Michigan's favor
Mhm.
for a bit as far as abilities go.
Yeah,
And I guess one advantage that Zeri has in this matchup against Vayne is that if Vayne does go invisible, Zeri's auto attacks are a skill shot. You can still hit those on the Vayne while she is on the prowl.
yeah.
Now we've got another possible light engagement here, but I think we're starting to get into the phase of the game where both of these characters kind of want to ignore each other a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Final Boss of Ohio, knowing him, is still going to want to go for these engages, but I think that Garen has become maybe a little bit wise to the amount of damage that Cassante can put out. Wolfblood looking for something maybe in the bot lane.
Yeah, and it looks as if Final Boss of Ohio is going for the Iceborne Gauntlet and Winter's Approach. Is that
Or
or the
it's
Fimbulvinter?
yeah, Fimbulwinter, that's what it is.
Yeah.
An item that also just got recently nerfed.
Unfortunate, but it is still a lot of shielding on on crowd control and on slows, and Cassante has a lot of that in his kit, especially once he's got that Iceborne Gauntlet built, which that's going to create a slowing field around the areas where he attacks after he uses an ability.
Yeah, it goes really well together. Just generally really good tanky stats that both items provide. Cassante really likes to have that. His benefits his all out form, just giving him more damage. The Reflect going to be used well by Noah. Getting value out of it, even though we said, there isn't a ton. Um, Final Boss of Ohio may be looking here, but he's going to take a pretty big chunk of damage under the tower. Gonna be
Yeah,
careful, because Garen can do Garen things.
that is true. And Wolfblood here is hovering.
Gonna be spotted. Yeah.
Yeah, Miami's Leona is hovering here in the topside river, looking for a possible engagement on either Noah. Oh, gets the ultimate here down on the Mel, gets the stun, gets the ignite, and is just going to get walked down. Beans on a killing spree before getting shut down by the Amumu. And oh my goodness, the
He's
rest.
he's kind of killing it. I'm not gonna lie. This Amumu is looking really good. Great mat movements. Be able to punish Miami for that early gank, and is gonna find so much value with the Curse of the Sad Mummy. And HPTX might as well be caught here as well.
Oh my goodness, Renegade Gang actually flashing over the wall to try to get the hook onto HPTX. The triple dash gets him over, but then Vayne flashes over as well. Western Michigan sending in a lot of resources to try to make sure that this Belveth is shut down. Now the question is, will it still be enough to stop HPTX's scaling? And I'm not sure that the answer is yes,
I
but
mean, he's got a pretty consistent CS lead, which is good. I mean, in that department, definitely not slacking. But it is tough because Amumu with items is going to feel really impactful. The damage is like really easy to underestimate. And now they might be looking for more onto Lord Bonk Bonk.
oh dear, this is a four-man dive here onto the bot lane. Wolfblood going to get possibly shut down off of all of this, but no, oh, okay, yeah, he does.
Okay. Miami respond in turn with all of the members.
Yeah, Final Boss of Ohio was able to use his teleport to get behind the dive, and then Quagert is going to use his teleport to go up topside and make sure that this proxy from Xtopa isn't going to be that impactful. But in the end, a pretty good fight there for the side of Miami. HPTX going to soak up a little bit of experience mid lane. The Final Boss of Ohio going to collect some plate gold bot on top of the big shutdown he's able to get onto that Amumu. And then, grabbing these grubs is very, very good for Belveth because they stack infinitely with objective takes, and grubs are really good for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and he's going to get more of his empowered form, which is always really helpful. Going to get that Void Coral.
Ooh.
Beans.
Oh,
Maybe not the best place to go in, but it's looking like she might be able to walk this one out. But Amumu wants more. Going to use the Solar Flare to disengage.
yeah. This is really, really dicey here for Beans. She was in the wrong part of the neighborhood there as HPTX finds an angle here on Noah to dash in, knock him up, and then use the infinite little tiny slaps to smack him down. Lord Bonk Bonk here getting a double kill onto the Renata and the Mel. Now Amumu using the big ultimate with his big wallet is able to get Miami fairly low, but it looks as if this is a winning fight for the side of Miami as HPTX gets 2 resets and Lord Bonk Bonk is able to do a lot of damage without being majorly pressured here. With Western Michigan only possibly trading the bot turret for all of these objectives.
Yeah, I don't even think with the amount of grubs that they have, I mean, it depends on how quickly Miami can rotate, but this wave is going to be pushing back out. So I don't believe they'll be able to grab that, at least for now. And yeah, I mean, a really great play for Miami, specifically because I think HPTX and Final Boss of Ohio were both aware that they tunnel visioned way too hard on Beans towards the top lane. They used a ton of abilities. They had the Garen ult expended, and then it kind of split up all of the members of Western Michigan, so they couldn't really respond quickly to the plays.
Oh, this Mel looks dead on my screen as HPTX is able to get the kill, get inside the ultimate for additional scaling.
Yeah, it's going to
And
make it even easier.
yeah, that's just an absolute great run of play here for Miami as they're putting the pedal to the metal here in the mid game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it looks like we're going to get a replay of this fight. And HPTX and Final Boss Ohio both see that the members of Western Michigan hadn't roamed down yet, so they saw the angle. And that overwhelm damage was pretty significant. Wasn't enough to take Lord Bonk Bonk down, however. And Final Boss knows now they have the numbers advantage, so they continue to take this fight. And we do see, yeah, like you said, the Amumu has a lot of gold, a lot of HP, but it isn't enough to take down Miami. And they just have significant numbers advantage and going to use that to propel into a winning fight.
yeah. I mean, with Wolfblood's item lead, they should be prepared very well to fight front to back. But in that specific instance,
They left their carries out.
yeah, the carriers were left out to dry, and Xtopa and Wolfblood were in no position to help against HPTX and Quagert, and Lord Bonk Bonk basically just diving in and killing whoever they wanted.
Yeah, they just weren't there. They went super hard on the Leona, and it just caused the rest of the fight to come across as really disjointed. So maybe they recognize that and they try to play more closer to their carries, like we said, because unfortunately, Mumu does have a lot of damage, has 2 items picked up, so before HPTX even has one online. But that's only going to do so much when you're the last one alive. So I think that it's really going to be up to Western Michigan to adjust their play style, to maybe play it a little bit slower and see if they can find an angle with the Amumu ult. I think playing around the Curse of the Sad Mummy is going to be a big part of how Western Michigan has to play these fights, simply because that's just such a powerful ability, especially if you have acquired this lead. So we're going to see what they have to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, Western Michigan has 2 gigantic team fight abilities between the Amumu ultimate and the Renato ultimate. Now, it looks as if HPTX is going to come in to take the Dragon before he's able to actually get his reset. I'm pretty sure he does have enough money for at least 1.5 full items. He's sitting on components for his first item still.
It's been a while, yeah.
But it's just, there have been so many objectives, and when you've got that Velvet passive, you really want to grab as many objectives as you can and keep that up and scaling for as long as possible. Now, Western Michigan was able to trade and grab the Rift Herald on the top side of the map at the same time. And it looks as if we're getting an Infernal Soul this game as well. So definitely interesting for some of the damage output from the...
Either side.
Yeah, either side, really.
Yeah.
I mean, on a damage character like Belveth or Zeri, it feels nice, but yeah.
Yeah, Infernal's one of those souls that's going to feel good on pretty much anyone. Zeri, in particular, I think is going to benefit from it, just being able to proc it. Maybe not as much as someone like an Ezreal, but it seems like, speaking about this bot matchup, it's looking like it's pretty good for Miami. Both are hyper-scaling ADCs, but I think Zeri in a better place with the early item that she was able to pick up, those spears, to be able to stack and become more of a menace in these fights.
Ooh, it looks like we've got a dive here onto Noah in the bot lane, having to expend his flash. A big Curse of the Sad Mummy onto Lord Bonk Bonk, but the Renato ult goes wide on the stun targets. It is still eventually going to be enough damage to take out both of the characters, but we are trading here in the bot lane as Noah goes down to the Belveth and HPTX duo.
Yeah, and I think all things considered, that's trading up. You do lose 2 members of Miami, but that's an inner going to be taken very early, and the Rift Herald is going to be spawned mid to try and help take out this mid tower. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Yeah, no, you got the TP off.
Yeah, Quagert is teleporting into this mid lane fight, probably in time to actually save the turret.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, so it is really good for Miami then, because if they were to drop the mid tower, it's a little bit of prio that they're losing.
Oh my goodness, HPTX just going in, doing big damage onto Renegade Gang, trying to get the reset here, possibly if they could get a Quagert kill really quickly. The Big House actually burning a ghost to try to chase Quagert down, and does get the kill. going for like 700 gold there between Treasure Hunter and just the shutdown. Having to flash to get out too means that the Vayne will not have any summoner spells for any possible objective fight in the next 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, Wolfblood giving his life to get his Vayne out of there. But I feel like at that point, you just kind of cut your losses, realize Vayne's not in a great place, overextended a bit. And yeah, I mean, no Curse of the Sad Mummy to back that play up. And just the numbers advantage again for Miami is going to enable them to walk out of that feeling pretty happy. HPTX acquiring quite a significant lead with these scuffles. And now they got full reign over this topside jungle.
Yeah, I mean, Wolfblood was really, really in pole position to carry this game for his team, but he is now down about 600 gold on his counterpart when he was looking really, really far ahead. Now we've got a big fight here as they're looking to dive onto the Garen, taking forever to die, but Leona eventually collects the gold while HPTX collects the passive stack. Uh, this is one bloodthirsty support here for Miami.
Yeah, I mean, Leona's going to be quite tanky. I think with the Vayne, it's not necessarily as good to have these kills on Leona, but see more action here.
Oh my goodness. Now, I think that Western Michigan is making one of those sort of cardinal mistakes in the game of League of Legends, like, don't start a land war in Asia.
Yeah.
Don't try to dive a Leona. She will never die.
Yeah, no, and she just has so much CC, so much utility, that it's going to make it hard for her to not be useful. And then, just like you said,
Like, it's just, she is never actually dead on your screen.
yeah,
There's some characters where if they're a little bit out of position, you're like, oh, we can rush this guy down. He's a support.
or, yeah.
He's whatever. But like Leona presses the W button and then instantly gets like 70% damage reduction from both magic and physical because it's like 130 armor, 130
Something
MR.
ridiculous. Yeah, no, it's like you just Leona W just it means you don't take damage. It's just kind of how it is.
Yeah.
And even with something like a Vayne, if she's not able to get those autos off to try and shred that armor and just get that true damage, I mean, look at this. Like, the Renato ult was well placed. Like, it looked good, but I think Miami just says, okay, that's fine, and just ignores it. And Lord Bonk Bonk coming over the wall, Final Boss of Ohio, has that all-out form, doing huge amounts of damage. And Belveth just able to pick up all of these kills and further extend the lead. And now, I think Bean sees the angle. It's like, okay, well, you're walking up. You have no numbers advantage. I don't know why you're trying to defend this tower. It's already gone, and now it's going to result in just pretty much an ace. I mean, Garen comes back up, but it's pretty much a full wipe for Miami.
Yeah, I was watching the live feed in the corner during that replay a little bit too. Nothing super eventful happened except Garen did burn his flash. He was trying to catch HPTX around the blue team's Raptor pit, but HPTX just sort of rope-a-doped him by going back and forth over the wall like 3 different times.
Yeah.
And just Western Michigan was unable to get a catch onto Miami's jungler there. It was just a goofy little time.
It's incredibly frustrating to play against a Belveth who has this empowered form. Final Boss of Ohio might be able to spot, but he himself will be spotted by these members. I don't know if he wants this, but Beans is in the area. It's going to pop that solar flare, and then Final Boss of Ohio is going to have no problem taking the fight. The hostile taker are going to come in.
Okay, Lord Bonk Bonk using the cleanse to make sure that the CC from the side of Western Michigan isn't going to stop him, and he dashes in. He's got that ult popped. He wants to try to keep this fight going. HBTX does get the reset, though.
Whoa,
but
weird.
yeah, it got sort of pushed back there a little bit. But still, should be good stacks of coral here for Belveth, which means infinitely stacking attack speed, infinitely stacking true damage on auto attacks. I mean, this character...
It feels gross.
Yeah,
sometimes.
it's interesting, for sure.
I like it. I think it's not as it's not a terribly unhealthy infinitely stacking mechanic. But I think that it's just at a certain point it gets really hard to play against. The Belveth is going to be more useful for the Renata though if you land a really good hostile takeover. But at the same time, look at this. I think it's just a layering of CC. And the hostile taker comes through, gets some good damage down on Miami. Curse of the Sad Money also going to be really helpful. But this Amumu is starting to look less and less impactful in these fights. And Lord Bonk Bonk looking for more, but does just kind of walk into that route there, unfortunately. HBTX able to clean up there, find those 2 kills, and something weird.
Yeah, I think that was mostly a target selection error there from Wolfblood, that he really needed to track back and peel for his backline. That Final Boss of Ohio and Beans were able to get in there and be very disruptive towards Renegade Gang and Noah. And if Wolfblood had just tracked back and even used that Curse of the Sad Mummy ultimate on Beans and Final Boss of Ohio, both of them probably get autoed down by the big house on that Vayne.
Yeah,
but
You're
he tried to fight all of Miami's backline at the same time and just died for it.
you're 100% right. I think he's playing like, like he's going to have immediate follow-up, and his team just really isn't able to walk up without being uh taken down by this Belveth, and or at least CC'd. And Final Boss of Ohio looking for more on the
Woohoo!
Garen. Doesn't hit the W true damage, but I think he will have not a huge issue taking this Garen down. But no, Garen is just going to walk it out.
Yeah. I mean, with the phase rush, Garen should have enough escape tools where even though, Cassante is the famous tank assassin with 1,000 dashes, he slices, he dices,
Yeah.
he does 1,000 different things.
Starting this Otacon, the Ruinous version.
Okay.
So it is going to be those Blood Petals for Miami. Going to have no problem taking them here. No contests available. And yeah, Final Boss of Ohio, the way the new Cassante works, like you said, it's like, he was an infinite stay killer. Maybe old Cassante, that would have been more one-sided, but W is going to be where a lot of his damage is now.
Okay. And it looks as if Miami is able to steal that blue buff there. So, this Amumu went from having a giant lead to is now basically being flame horizoned
Yeah.
on the CS count and just can't catch a break when it comes to these team fights. I think that there have been a few
Oh,
decision making errors here. Speaking of decision making, HBTX is like it's 3v1 light work.
yeah.
Now the big house does flash in to try to get the kill. They are able to shut down the Belveth, but at what cost?
Yeah, Lord Bonk Bonk getting free autos on this fight. Bean's looking for more onto Noah. And the carries, again, are kind of neglected. It seems like Wolfblood just goes all in and forgets that he has other team members that are there that he needs to peel for. Like, he's building half tank, half damage. Well, I guess I would say mostly tank at this point. But, you can't expect them to be able to follow up and not just be bursted down by the other members of Miami. So it is kind of unfortunate because it seems like the identity is just not being respected.
Yeah, and I mean, I think some of that was just, Western Michigan is dealing with around a 10K, 12K gold deficit. And so I think the big house on for this vein thought, wait, Belveth just dove 1v3 and got a kill. That's illegal. We need to stop that.
Yeah.
If the gold were around even, Vayne would be correct. That would have been illegal. But Miami is currently rewriting the laws of this game as they have enough money to do that.
They also have the champions to do
Yeah.
that. I think Asante is a perfect champion to rewrite the laws of the game. Like we were talking about Leona earlier and just how she doesn't take damage, but no matter what they do to this Cassante champion, just the fundamental way that he was just like the identity is just destined to be something that just doesn't necessarily click.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, he did that to my team. Like, wow. Or we dive 4 members and we just can't do anything.
Yeah. Now, Miami does collect the Baron Nashor buff, and they should be looking to group and just sort of end the game. They're looking at a 1-4 split. Now, with the bot inhibitor already taken, there's not a lot of incentive to run a 1-3-1 sort of split push here. That Cassante can sit here and peel for his Zeri,
Look at
or
him,
just
he's
dive
going,
everyone.
yeah, he's going. I mean, he knows. He heard me on the cast. He's like, yeah, I am basically at this point in the game unkillable. He's got the unending despair. It's going to make him very hard to take down. And look at all these little StarCraft
Yeah.
fishes. At this point, late game, Quaker's going to find an ult there. Of course, the Sad Mummy going to be used, but I think at this point, it's just kind of delaying the inevitable. HBTX going to get some more coral towards the back, and that is the first game going to Miami.
Yeah, that was a gigantic Oriana ult. Just absolutely demolished the health bars there of Western Michigan. We're not able to stay in the game, and Miami takes map 1 pretty handily.
Yeah, I mean, there was points in the early game where I think Miami has had this a couple times where they are a bit overconfident. They go for plays that, on paper look good, but are actually pretty easily punished by the enemy team if they have a jungler who's like, okay, I'm going to look at my map here and see that they're a bit overextended. And I think Miami, it's good to play with confidence. It's
Yeah.
good to play with the attitude that's like, I am the better player here. I'm confident in my hands. But I think it's cost them a bit in the early game, but they seem to really like tighten up towards as the game progresses, and they're able to clean up some of these mistakes and really make it so that team fights are more and more one-sided as the game goes on. They're getting more and more on the map. They're getting more CS, more jungle camps, more objectives, and I think that's a big thing for this Miami team. There you said the huge shockwave, really clean way to end the game. But I think a big thing that to note why Miami is just so dominant too is that despite some of the early game or deficits that they might incur, like the Amumu with the 8 kills or whatever, It's HPTX always getting these objectives. Final Boss of Ohio always winning his lane towards the top side. And I think that's really the difference maker is these consistent things that will give you kind of an insurance, maybe like a safety net as you move into the late game and you start to clean up your game and your play to look better.
Yeah, and I mean it's with HPTX playing such consistent late game characters between the Belveth, the Karthus,
Kindred.
Even the Shaco in his own way is
Yeah.
really, really terrifying late game. That means that so long as you can navigate the early to mid game in such a way that you're not completely out of things, you will always, always have a shot past the 25-minute mark. And I think that that's been one of the big difference makers here for Miami season so far. And it's the biggest thing with that last game. The Amumu was in the driver's seat there for Western Michigan,
Yep.
and I think that they just didn't quite recognize that they needed to transition away from playing in the solo queue, sort of, we're skirmishing in the jungle and I'm just winning these fights because I'm so big,
Yeah.
to I need to play with my team. We need to play intelligent front to back League of Legends where I'm peeling for my carries. If they're not, like, I need to do my job, they need to do their jobs, and I need to trust that they're going to do their jobs.
Yeah.
And it's just, he couldn't disrupt their backline the way that, Final Boss of Ohio could on Casante.
Exactly. I think you put it perfectly. It seems like that it was like, okay, I've accumulated this huge lead from early game. I'm going to play basically the same as I did like at like 8 minutes to 30 minutes or however long that game ended up going. Because I feel like at a certain point, you're right. You just need to adapt. You need to realize that the Vayne is going to be the one maybe that's getting the damage in the team fights, especially with such a tanky team that
Yeah,
Miami drafted. I think the Vayne was a good pick. Like
yeah,
it's good on Leona. It negates a lot of that armor, the Cassante, but unfortunately, just really didn't have the peel necessary to be able to shine in these fights, which was unfortunate because I think a lot of members, especially I think the Mel looked really good too,
yeah,
landing a lot of key skill shots, reflecting what she could.
yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, Miami just looked more poised in these team fights to play it out in accordance with the teams that they drafted.
Well, we are going to be heading to map two after a short break. Feel free to go get a snack or something. We will be back very soon. See you after a break. Hello and welcome back. We are about to start map 2 here in this Western Michigan Miami series. Just wanted to shout out again really quickly that tomorrow we are going to be running a day-long charity live stream event benefiting uh, oh my goodness.
It was the
That's
Cincinnati Children's Hospital.
yes.
Yeah,
I'm wow. I'm actually Extra Life is the
extra
name
life.
of the
Yeah,
charity organization. Oh my goodness. I completely blanked on that for a second.
it was a long first game.
It
There's no
was,
worries there.
yeah. But we are going to be playing some social games at the start of the day that people at home can join in. We highly encourage that you do. We're going to be playing Mario Kart 8 as well as Fall Guys. Before we get into some of our more serious competitive titles like Overwatch 2, which is going to be our ESC regular season game for Overwatch 2, check that out. League of Legends, we're going to be playing against their Ohio squad around 3 p.m. or so tomorrow. And then Rocket League for the collegiate CCS
Mm-hmm.
is going to be around 5. And then at 6, we're going to have a show match between Ohio's top club Marvel Rivals team and our top Marvel Rivals team. Very much looking forward to seeing what we can do there. I think they set their fundraising goal for the day at around $2,000. We set ours first at 1,500.
Oh,
Yeah, I
I see
know, I
how it
know.
is. So
Yeah,
they're trying to one up us.
yeah,
So
yeah.
make sure you donate to us instead.
Yes, yes.
Not in case you get confused. It's the red one, not the
Right, right.
green
Not the
one.
green one. We will
Yeah.
be sharing the link throughout the stream. We'll be putting the link in chat. We're going to have QR codes here on the broadcast proper. So if you're watching on a second device where you can use your phone to check in, it should be pretty easy to donate to the cause. Uh, the money goes to a very, very good place for supporting children in need. And helping with a lot of hospital support costs, which those can add up very, very
Yeah.
quickly. So, very much looking forward to the event tomorrow. Also, throughout the weekend here in the Armstrong Student Center, there is GeekCon going on. The League of Geeks every year runs a convention in the pavilions upstairs here on the third floor. Although I am hearing we're going to be getting into draft very shortly, so we can transition to that when we need to. But there will be events, board games, traditional video games,
Cosplay.
cosplay.
Yeah.
They're selling some merchandise down in the atrium. Definitely come and check that out if you are interested in anything related to any of those topics. I don't know if they've got any trading card game stuff too. I
You
keep,
you'll find
yeah,
something for you.
yes,
Yeah.
for sure, for
There's
sure.
something. There's a little something for everybody, and if not, there's a lot of really nice people you just talk to.
Yeah,
Probably find something, a
yeah,
common interest at least somewhere with all
yeah.
that stuff. So
And then the other big gaming event still happening right now over in the Shriver Center is Smash Ball, the formal Smash tournament where everybody dresses up and runs a Marvel Ultimate.
Smash
Smash
Ultimate.
Ultimate, Marvel Ultimate. My goodness, Smash Ultimate tournament. Now we are getting into pick ban. It looks as if Miami is going for the red side again, so that means that they are second pick in this draft. Basically, running it back to how we were in the first game. Although, from what I've heard, about how this draft is looking to unfold, we might be looking at uh, a much different game.
We'll see. I mean, I think that some of the bands obviously going to look the same. You definitely can't let either of those picks in for Miami. Now they're going to opt for the Belveth ban instead of the Fiora, and then the Anivia is going to be banned in turn. So it seems like Quaker does not, despite knowing probably that matchup inside and out, probably just doesn't want to play into it, and that's going to be an immediate lock-in for the. Oh, hold on. So that's Urgot, and that's Olaf. So Olaf actually kind of likes that matchup because at a certain point when he gets level 6 he's really good. He can negate the CC of uh the toss, or like the shoulder toss, or I forget what it's called, the
Hmm.
E dash
Yeah,
from Urgot. And then the Warwick is also going to be locked in, kind of matching that sustain with the Olaf. And then the Maokai, I'm okay, so we got a lumberjack and some trees, guy with an axe and some trees. Literal chills right now. It's the trees matchup. Not a huge fan, I mean, but it's quite effective. I think that it's a bit of a deviation from Miami's normal playstyle, and we also have the Victor being locked in on the side of Western Michigan.
yeah, no, I mean the Ivern mid is a Quagert special and has we've shown very good results with it. I think it synergizes actually very well with the Olaf top. It
Mm-hmm.
gives him a lot of space to carry in a way that other mid lane support picks might not. I mean, Karma mid does a lot of the very very similar things,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I think HBTX on the Maokai gives Miami a very clear go button. Although the Braum does kind of stop that a little bit here with the Varus Braum, and we've
Ooh.
got a Zillion. You cannot kill Killian the Zillion.
Yeah.
as this Jin Zillion bot lane is going to be dashing, zooming all over the place with all of the additional move speed that they get from their various passives. So this is a Miami,
Unconventional.
yeah, a Miami squad that is going to want to look to move fast and break things versus another sort of catch comp here from Western Michigan, where the Braum plays catch very well. The Varus can catch people very well with his ultimate, and then Victor should have all of the damage in the world necessary to win some of these big team fights. The biggest question marks for me are this Urgot and this Warwick, where I think the Urgot should be doing fine, but there was a moment here in the last couple of months where Warwick was very meta, right?
Yeah, no, he had some changes to the way that he gets his attack speed based off of the minions and the HP that's around him. But now I think he's still really prevalent top lane, still a really strong pick. But I think the Olaf is just insanely good right now. Really has a lot of potential to pop off in team fights simply because he just kind of runs at you.
Hmm.
And if he has like something like an enchanter to back him up, along with the Zillion, it's kind of curtains. If
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
able to procure a lead anywhere in this game, whether it be laning phase or more towards the end, like we saw with just the side laning that Final Boss of Ohio was able to do, getting these turrets. It's going to be really hard to take care of him because he just has so much peel, so much agency to just run through all the CC, all the anything. Braum tries
Hmm.
to stop him, Victor, Chaos Field, anything that happens, he's just going to keep moving. And I think there isn't as much value on the Urgot. I think it's something that feels really good to play in laning phase. I've played Urgot a bit. A bit. I'm M7, but I think that the champ feels really great. But I think into a pick like Olaf, it's going to be harder to get those all ins, even if you have the range benefit. It's going to be kind of down to what you do with your six.
Hmm.
Your level 6, because that's a really important power spike. I'm curious to see what runes he decides to take, whether it be PTA Conqueror to try and match maybe some of these extended trades. I like PTA on Urgot, but we'll see. Another thing too to note is the Jin. I'm not a huge fan of it. I love Jin as a character, but I think that after the changes to Static Shiv, it made his like kind of like mosquito build that he
Hmm.
used to do a lot weaker. Which it was started. You start with the Static Shiv and then into Rapid Fire Cannon
Hmm.
into like maybe Randuin's Omen, or not Randuin's. What am I saying? Um, LDR
LDR.
or something like that. But
Hmm.
that build I think is so weak. Like
Yeah.
I've seen it in pro play recently. It just doesn't look good. So I'm interested to see if it's more of the Dark Harvest collector start that I really think is more of like the awesome, let's actually do damage to people
Hmm.
route. So I think if that's the way that we're playing this, I would be a lot more encouraged.
Right. I mean, it seems like all of Miami's comp is built in some fashion to enable the Olaf to do things. Because I mean, the Jin W root can combo off of the Olaf axe,
Hmm.
so it's just another tool that could possibly allow the Olaf to gain space here on the Western Michigan composition. And
Or
now,
the Iron Cube.
or the Iron Cube. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's so many ways that this squad can enable Olaf to run wild in team fights. It's just a question of, is this going to be a good enough comp to make it through the rest of the game that isn't focused on the 5v5 team fights or on these 3v3 skirmishes, because there is going to be a lot of the game where this Jin Zillion are going to have to be self-sufficient in the bot lane. I think Victor is a very strong pick at the moment,
Yeah.
and we're going to have to see how all of this goes when we get into game.
Another thing that comes to mind too, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier, is a lot of the ultimates on the side of Western Michigan are very much one single target lockdown. So
Mhm.
we have a Varus R, we have a Warwick R, we have a Urgot are.
Mhm.
All of those are like very much okay. We are going to dial in on one person and try and take them out. So if Final Boss of Ohio is able to frontline effectively and just kind of run at them, he can absorb a lot of that pressure that would come from those ultimates if he can position correctly, because he's just kind of in there. And if they decide to use a lot of those tools on him, I mean, that's just going to be a losing fight no matter how you spell it. So I
Yeah.
think it's going to be really good. I think I've never seen a better Olaf angle, at least for our games that we've played so far.
Yeah, and I guess the one last like niche situation thing that I had come to mind that may not be worth mentioning too much is that the item Serpent's Fang is very very good when it comes to blowing up some of the shielding that uh, you know people can build.
Yeah.
And with a an Ivern in the game, shielding is going to be a real issue. And Olaf W still currently gives shielding as well, right?
Yeah, Olaf W, yes, so it will give shield, as you auto, and, it just gives increased attack speed. Yeah, so that was, like, the rework that happened a little bit, or actually, it was a long time ago now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But, yeah, I think that it will help negate some of that, and I think the only person that will probably realistically build that would be the Varus, but it seems like he opted for the PT, so maybe he's going more of an on-hit
Right.
style, but if he were to go lethality, that item fits really well into his kit, but really, I think anyone from
Yeah.
outside of maybe the mid support can build it, and
Yeah.
it won't look too terrible, just a little bit less optimized.
Oh, we've got a bit of a level 1 situation happening here as Final Boss of Ohio is looking to run this Warwick down here at the level 1. Now, Olaf is pretty strong as he
Yeah.
gets more attack speed and lifesteal as he gets lower here, and he gets the resets off of the Qs. Speaking of, he flashes and ghosts in order to continue extending this fight into Extopa. Probably ends up taking him down as well. That's an early double kill for this Olaf that we were talking about, who is in a situation to carry the game into the mid to late game, already getting off to this gigantic flying start.
Yeah, I think that's something that characteristically you have to expect when there's an Olaf in the game, just because of the sheer amount of power and sustain that this champion has early. If Warwick is there, they can definitely turn that because Warwick has a similar amount where if the lower he gets, the more lifesteal he gets, can get insane amounts of sustain. But I feel like, I mean, like, well, I guess Warwick was there, but it's not the same amount. Sorry, not the same amount that Warwick is able, or that Olaf is able to benefit from it. That's like his whole type of chimp. So yeah,
Yeah.
so he gets a bit caught off guard, and I think a big thing too that helped turn this is that Quagert is here with
Mhm.
that sapling shield, and they immediately know to focus down the work. Like I said, he has that lethal tempo, so he's going to be a threat. And then Alonso Ohio playing it just so cleanly, and like you mentioned, I think any kind of lead that this Olaf is able to acquire is just going to make it so much harder. And HPTX takes that into an immediate invade.
That's that feels bad if you're the Warwick, because I mean Warwick doesn't have a lot of AoE clear. Now obviously the changes to the jungle pets has made it a lot easier for single target junglers like Warwick to do their multi target camps, but to lose out on all of that work sucks. And
Yeah.
that now HPTX is clearing up top, and it looks like they're going to try to split the jungle a little bit. If Warwick is sensible here, he'll probably look to invade the blue side jungle here of Miami. But while Maokai takes his entire top side. Now Beans does eat this early Q. This could put her in trouble as she gets ignited, has to flash out, has the big Q.
Ooh.
Now Varus using the flash. Yeah, okay, that's
Yeah, I think that's curtains
yeah.
here for Lord Bongpog. He's going to be taking quite low the passive stacks, and that is just a 2v2 kill or series of 2v2 kills for the bot lane of Western Michigan, equalizing the series, or equalizing the kills. But yeah, I mean, I think that if you get an angle onto either of these picks in the bot lane for Miami, I think it's just really tough because the amount of lockdown that Ola or Braum provides if
Mhm.
you're able to accumulate those frost stacks. You just don't have the same dueling power because you have to wait on that Jin reload. It's really important to kind of bide your time and look for a good angle. And I think playing around the jungler is not going to be something that would be, uh, too frowned upon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, and it definitely seemed like a misstep there from Beans being a little bit out of position. Now, speaking of out of position, Quagert is about to get chased down by this wolf who's using that passive to uh, basically, distract him while Victor just kills him.
Yeah, I mean, he
Ah,
was just kind of there for emotional support. It seemed like it was a pretty cut and clear solo kill from the mid lane. Miami may have cooked too hard. I'm not going to go overboard and say it's anything, but I think
right.
these champions maybe not as characteristic for their playstyles. Final Boss of Ohio may be looking here as well, though. Wolfblood trying to take down HBTX, but Final Boss of Ohio has room to cook. He's got the Conqueror fully stacked up. Noah doesn't have the ability to follow up, and then the Ivern is just going to facilitate kills for Miami, and that is a great trade there, allowing the Rome of Final Boss of Ohio to come in huge.
Yeah, no, the trees are going to war as both the Ivern and the Maokai are able to pick up effective engagement wins there for the side of Miami. Great win for the Ent fans here at home. Now, it looks as if, you know, the first dragon is going to be spawning here in about 30 seconds. It is interesting to me seeing HPTX on the Maokai. I think when I saw that Maokai was being picked here by Miami, I wasn't sure if it was actually going to be HPTX playing it, or if
Or
they were going to,
beans,
yeah, if they're
yeah.
going to substitute somebody in, because it isn't exactly a characteristic pick here for this jungler who loves playing scaling carry characters.
Yeah, and it seems like Quigert as well is going a bit more battle mode. He's trying to take these early game trades onto the Victor when he doesn't have that Hex core stacked up. Because once this Victor starts to get more of the augments online, he can't be this bold in the way that he's playing. Like he's getting caught in a lot of these Ws, and really Victor at this point in the game doesn't have the grasp, doesn't have these trading tools to be able to make it harder. Oh, we got a stun there, but the W going to go wide. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough. It's going to get tougher, I think. Miami is going to have to play it a bit more carefully, getting some of these more enthusiastic trades.
Yeah, I think that if they can make it to Maokai's level 6, it is still recoverable here on the bot side. I definitely don't think that Lord Bonk Bonk and Beans are out of this quite yet, but it is definitely going to be very, very difficult to play this without jungler support, and I definitely don't think that they should be looking for anything without their ultimate abilities available. Now, Quaker jumping in here onto Noah, using the bushes and the dashes off of his Q to
Oh,
get in there.
Wolfblood's here.
Woo!
He has the fear, but Quaker going to be so hard to be taken down. Look at the value of the sapling shield. Quaker doesn't even have Daisy yet, and he's chasing them off. And what is effectively a 1v2?
Oh, now it's a 2v2 as Daisy has been called in, and he's just going to beat Noah down. Now, the ultimate here used by Noah, but HVTX is not able to steal the kill from his mid laner. He's able to get the effective solo kill on the Ivern mid.
Yeah, I mean, name someone else who can do that in the ESC right now, other than Quagert. I feel like that is just something that is so characteristically him. Great trade though, coming in from Lord Bonkbonk, gonna find that 4-shot to take down the big house, and Quagert wants more. Onto Wolfblood. Daisy is ready to aggro, but Wolfblood, great flash fear, using that to catch Quagert off guard, and Daisy isn't able to react in time, unfortunately. Dunkmaster Daisy gonna be taken down.
Yeah, really unfortunate there that Warwick is one of those characters where he he has so much burst healing off of his Q and his auto attacks while he's low on health that it is very hard to execute him down. Good uses of flash there from Wolfblood to make sure that he was able to dodge any possible skill shots from the tree that could have stopped him from doing the thing that he needed to do to win that engagement.
Yeah, I think Miami, somewhat unaware of the power, but we are going to see Maokai go in with the twisted saplings or the twisted roots here, and Final Boss of Ohio picking up another kill. Now 4-1 at this point in the game. Really going to be tough to put down in these team fights, because once you start to accumulate a lead like this into the Olaf, he can start to be playing more and more aggressive into this pick, taking more and more of this lane pressure for himself, and it's just going to be so hard. Like I think that was already apparent with the amount of value he's going to get from this Ragnarok. HPTX looking for a cheeky invade, probably not going to find too much into the Warwick, but Quagert, again, continuing to battle.
He's just autoing him down. That W passive on Quager, where he gets additional auto attack damage when he sits in bushes, is so funny to see taking advantage. Now, Wolfblood getting ulted by HPTX, gets very, very low, but HPTX probably doesn't have enough damage to do it alone, relies on the flash ultimate from Final Boss of Ohio to win the team fight for the side of Miami there. And Topa is forced to keep clearing under turret while Olaf just proxies.
Yeah, just kind of have to watch and kind of imagine that this Olaf is going to, or this Maokai is just going to take the jungle. And Beans, bit of an awkward spot. The ultimate max range going to be landing onto Lord Bonk Bonk. Really unlucky there, but Beans going to have the ability to back him up. And Noah, again, is going to be taken down. Lord Bonk Bonk super low, but not going to be killed there to proc the passive. And now this Q, the barrier is just enough to keep him alive. And now the ultimate going to be used in return. He has the 4-shot, is going to find it. But then the dive to follow up. But Beans is now looking onto the big house, but I don't think she has the damage. Her combo's over, but no, she's autoing as she does find it. And meanwhile, HBTX senses blood, and this wolf is not long for the world. We'll see. He's gonna. I mean, like you said, he has a lot of healing, but he kind of leashing him back and forth. They're into the sapling. It's gonna take him even lower, and the minion's gonna help finish the job. Oh, hold on.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, that's scary. We see some of that Omnivamp that the Warwick gets, but HVTX is going to find the kill eventually. And what a messy cut and turn of events. It went from the second Ivern solo kill of the game into such a crazy trade of abilities into the bot lane, and Lord Bonk Bonk just barely finding it, the damage with that 4-shot, and making out by the skin of his teeth with that
Yeah.
barrier, but going to be found under the turret by Warwick. Just amazing. Ends up being pretty positive play for Miami. I think they're sitting very pretty, and I
Yeah.
think we're going to get a replay here.
Yeah. That was a pretty crazy sequence all around. Now, I mean, in the live sequence as well, they just forced out the Victor Flash using a Maokai ult. Warwick looking to get a possible kill, but no, okay, that all goes even. So in the replay, now that we're
Lives.
safe in the
Look
mid
at his
game,
HP right now. You can't even see it on the side of the screen.
And the fact that this play all happened because the Big Horse was able to get a weird Varus ult to hit still.
Yeah.
Like, Beans juked it, but it landed on Lord Bonk Bonk anyway, and then just autoed him down. That's exactly what you want to see out of your supports. Now, in the live game, it looks as if this Warwick has been caught out again. Beans and Maokai able to duo him out, and then Quaker gets another solo kill with the Daisy.
I just don't get it, man. Like, how does he do that? I can't do that.
He's just different, man.
Yeah. HBTX finding more with his Raptors here, and Miami's gonna be.
I think I hear laughter in the other room.
Yeah.
You know, the players are behind us. They generally can't hear us as we're going. But, I mean, they definitely can't hear us as we're going. But, like...
There's a 3-minute delay. It's fine.
I'm hearing them giggle back there. I'm curious about what's about to happen to us.
I think Quagert is really enjoying at this point in the game. You've gotten over maybe the initial hurdle. Maybe Braum looking for something there. Lord Bonk Bonk trading an auto back. Maybe reloading. Wolfblood living up to his name on the Warwick here. But unfortunately, really behind. Oh, we got another replay here. We're seeing the value. The Ivern has no fear, immediately dashing in. HBTX dueling along with Beans this Warwick, and he doesn't know where to go. I mean, you just got to pick one at some point. And then more than that, we see Daisy finishing off the kill. Quagert making it look easy.
Yeah, Daisy's my favorite player. Now it looks as if, we get a big Zillion ult here onto the Jhin. Make sure that this 3-man dive here isn't going to do anything while HPTX is able to secure Void Grubs. That's a 6-grub game here for Miami. Once again, way on top of getting objectives here for the team. That's just great jungling right there.
The curtain call.
The curtain call is going to get blocked up here by the Braum a little bit, but there should still be enough damage to possibly get...
Oh, no, not enough, even with the 4-shot. But we see Wolfblood is in the area, but he's outnumbered. And we do see a Victor moving down, but Lord Bonk Bonk going to still have that barrier, but just going to be taken down there under his own tower. No Zillion ult left to use for that. Final Boss of Ohio sitting pretty up here in the top lane. Has that tunneler. See what he's going to be building next. I imagine it's like a Death Dance or something like that would be pretty effective.
Yeah, or a Sterix or something. Now, Daisy getting called down again on top of the Maokai ult is going to keep this this Victor from being able to play the game as this pair of trees just whack this robot man to death. That's just that's a bad scene, you know?
The glorious evolution was actually the evolution of nature, because that's where evolution started. We all know that.
Yeah.
They're going to turn that into this Drake here. HBTX still managing to look really good on a lot of these objectives across the map, and Daisy helping out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that in that last fight with the Jhin dying to the Warwick, I think there was a minor spacing issue with Beans staying a little bit far away from her AD carry, where maybe if she'd been standing closer instead of trying to zone the Braum off, trying to fight for that Tri-Brush control alongside her carry, Lord Bonk Bonk might have been able to survive it.
But Ohio just trying to be a nuisance here. Going to pop the Ragnarok, see if he can find the buff. But he's really just using it to auto down this Warwick and Battle of the Healing. But he's now 6-1, and he's going to flash to block the Urgot. And I think he just wins this. I mean, the Grievous is going to be procced. He's going to be taken incredibly low.
Oh, 882 gold there for the Urgot, as that Bramble Vest is able to be just barely enough to take this Olaf down.
And Quagert, meanwhile, continuing his path of carnage across the map, putting up these bushes, and is just defending this bottom tower with his life, and soon to be Daisy, I imagine. Maybe they're looking for an angle to go in. We see rotating pings on the side of the map. Miami's bot lane is moving down from it, but hold on, we have an engage. Daisy providing some peel. Quaker going to be forced to flash, and now Lord Bonk Bonk in the area with the curtain call. Beans as well has the ultimate just in case. They aren't going to be able to find Quaker living on a sliver HP. The Zillion ult going to be dissuading them from getting that last hit, and now Quaker wants more.
Yeah, no, see.
Oh my God! How did he do that?
Jump scare.
That's the actual FNAF, like, just just baby, I'm playing on you. Like, Maroon 5 Animals came out of nowhere at Mach 10, and now Victor's here to get in the fray. Lord Bonk Bonk going to be taken incredibly low, going to be caught in that case, so I'm going to be forced to flash Beans, giving her life to get her ADC out of there. But what the heck was that, man? I would have just jumped out of my seat. Like,
Yeah, that might have been what they were giggling about because that Warwick was zooming.
I mean, so for those of you who don't know, Warwick's ultimate does scale with his movement speed. HBTX going to be here to help finish this kill. The Ragnarok going to be used as well. And yeah, I think that's this top tower with the 6 grubs. No ability to stop that. And man, I mean, I don't know if we can get a replay of that, but I think that may have been the fastest Warwick I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with how HPTX is doing on this Maokai. You know, it is more of a supportive pick. It is more of an enabling pick, but it is also something that our team has struggled with some. Oh, well, we got a fight here against Wolfblood as they're looking to take down Final Boss of Ohio. As I
Oh.
was talking about how good this duo has been, they
They
get
just
ganged
run it
up on.
down in
Yeah,
the top jungle. HPTX might be able to find his way out, though. Is going to juke him a little bit. Noah not using the W the right direction. Going to be flashing, and unfortunately not going to be able to back him up in time. And now Beans and Lord Bonkbug might also be in trouble. Going to be forced to kite back a little bit.
quite possibly. I think that. Yeah, I think that that flash from Noah was a little
There
bit
he
ambitious.
goes!
Oh my goodness! And yeah, just no Zillion ult available, no stun available, just pure speed and a very excited dog. You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, that's like, he sees, it's you yell squirrel, and
Yeah.
now Quaker in a bit of a scuffle here. Daisy here to back him up, but unfortunately, I think this Urgot might have ult. It's going to be using that to secure the kill. Quaker having so much sustain and shielding, but hold on,
Wait a
he's getting
second.
pretty low. Does he have the ultimate? No, he does not. So no ultimate up. Quaker's trying to kite him out, but
Yeah.
Xtopa will find a kill anyway. Unfortunate.
Yeah. At this point in the game, you know, despite the fact that Quaker was able to beat up this Victor solo a lot early. Just the items that Quaker is building means that he really needs to be grouping up. The 1-3-1 concept will struggle to work a little bit into this, especially into this Warwick, because if you get, you know, if you do an extended trade where both parties end up low after, you know, a little bit of slapping around, the Warwick gets that giant speed buff towards any opponents that are low. So, you know, what was a 1v1 was about to turn into a 2v1 very quickly. On top of the fact that Quakered is building supportive, shielding items that will enable his team to do more good things against a character who's building straight damage and tankiness.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think without some of the key damage dealers from Miami, it's going to be hard to play out some of these fights, especially, like you said, at this point in the game. The Ivern, despite the battle tendencies, is going to be a little bit harder to pilot in the 1v1 situation.
Now, it looks as if Final Boss of Ohio has decided to chomp
Scare
down
him a
Noel,
bit.
yeah, a little bit. That my goodness, the Tiamat item he's got that I'm
The
now
Stride Breaker.
Stride Breaker, really doing a lot to enable him to, you know, it speeds up Olaf and it slows down opponents when he's near them when he uses that active.
Ooh.
Now Varus ult does whiff and he gets he gets rooted by HBTX in
Look at
response.
the stun.
Daisy coming down. Just a lot of members of Western Michigan not able to play the game for very long. Jin curtain call piled on top of it as Olaf rounds the bend here using his ultimate to go crowd control immune, but gets executed by the Varus passive.
Yeah.
Now the Victor ultimate a little bit fruitless, looking to zone HBTX out, and it's a big question on whether or not Miami's going to try to focus on the objective here, or if they're going to try to extend this fight in the bot side jungle of Western Michigan.
Yeah, I think Noah might be looking for some more damage over the wall. HBTX feeling pretty fine. Look at all the rushes that's making it so hard for Western Michigan to find any angle into this Drake pit. And that's going to be Miami's second Drake of the game. That's going to be setting up for a chem plant, which is, I think Miami is loving. That, for those of you who don't know at home, that gives you extra heal and shield power as well as tenacity. So I think that is just the perfect soul for Miami. But yeah, I think it's just looking like exactly like we predicted. It's kind of hard to get into these fights. And then, while something important to mention is Final Boss of Ohio caused. Oh, we just just heard a big scream from the other room. Maybe something funny is coming very soon. We're gonna have that to look forward to. But I think that Final Boss Ohio charging into that fight with less than half of his HP and still warranting that much of a response from the side of Western Michigan, I think is something to be concerned about. Because if he had full HP, maybe he lives there. The redemption was just seconds from coming down to heal him back up. So I think definitely something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it has to be said again. Oh my goodness,
We're
Olaf just
Ragnaroking for the turret here. I think we really wanted that one. Quaker to be there to drop his shield down to support. Wolfblood trying to make a play on Lord Bonkwok. Going to flash over the wall. Chains of Corruption going to land
ooh,
into the Warwick R, the suppression. Beans in a tough spot here as well. Quaker also
oh
tried to support, but he's zoned off of his team. Beans going to use the ability or the ultimate ability on herself. And now Wolfblood also in this flank angle, gonna take down Beans. Final Boss of Ohio not really taking damage. This is a weird fight. Now
yeah.
Papa has an angle into the fight as well. Quaker gonna still be living on just a silver HP, might fall down. And that is a very strange fight in a very strange angle. I mean, all things considered, Western Michigan is favored in that type of really close quarters combat
Yeah.
because just based on the abilities that they have.
Oh my goodness, does he just
Final
walk him down here?
I think he does. I think, yeah,
That's
he has
crazy.
the ability to do that. Noah maybe trying to clean that up, but hold on. HBTX sees an angle. He's going to knock him back into this Olaf one shot, but finds the kill anyway. And now they're looking for more, and they're going to find both of those champions on Western Michigan. Final Boss of Ohio on a sliver of health says he doesn't care. He's ready for more action.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy work from HPTX there. That his Olaf. Oh,
Hold on.
Wolfblood zooming
Uh-oh.
in does have the but we're CC immune here. We've got the Ragnarok down.
Chains of Corruption going to find nothing because of the Ragnarok. And now they're looking for another dive into that. Miami is non-stop on these plays on the map. They just see the angle. They know this Olaf is just so hard to take down. And now they're going to turn this into the mid tower, I presume, and maybe even more.
Yeah, so you know I just this was very 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 close. I think that if if Western Michigan had just been grouped up a little bit better and been able to actually focus the damage on the Olaf, he just dies for that.
Yeah.
But Noah tried to go and do his own thing. HPTX was like, oh, look, I found this. Catch.
Yeah.
And Final Boss of Ohio was able to pick up on it. And now here Wolfblood thinks, oh, you know,
It's
Olaf
safe
is
now.
low. I can stun him down. It'll be all right. But Final Boss of Ohio's Ragnarok comes back off of cooldown, negates all of the crowd control there. And now Miami is looking to go for the Otacon here in the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, it just, Miami's comp perfectly came to that crescendo there, where they're able to just live out the fantasy of this Olaf. He's like, you should have gone for the head, you know, like they have no way of taking him down. Now, Quaker, once in that fight, HPX going to follow closely. Final Boss of Ohio is going to get rooted up, see if he has the Ragnarok to pop. And now it's just a close quarters combat fight yet again. The Redemption going to be coming down, keeping Miami's members healthy. Rom going to be rooted. But meanwhile, Noah on the backside of this fight, finding access onto the squishy backline. Quadra kill for Final Ohio, but that is going to be the ultimate used to dissuade that.
We're going for the Penta. We're going for the Penta.
Let's see if he can get it. The root is going to land, and he wants it. Let's see if he can secure this Penta under the tower.
Oh, no!
Okay.
Bean stole the Penta.
Who else, though?
Okay,
Who
okay.
else?
Yeah,
Who
that's
else
fair.
would be the one to steal the Penta? We saw her just getting herself quite fed last game on the Leota. And Bean's going to make sure that that is not a possibility. She's like, I evaded death. That last kill is mine.
Yeah. I mean, oh my goodness, just how fed this Olaf is. And I guess one thing that I want to note that I just saw as we began this fight, Maokai built a death cap. And
Yeah, no, he's full AP.
He's got a
full
dark
AP.
seal with 10 stacks. This is a howitzer cannon of a Maokai.
Yeah, we just see like, Olaf just running through all the members of Western Michigan. They have no way to take him down, and really well played here by Noah to try and find an angle into the backside. But look at this ultimate value is going to prevent the Urgot from finding anything, and now they have one objective in mind. And meanwhile, I think they're just ending the game in live.
It looks as if in the live feed that Miami has gotten another ace, and they are in fact looking to end the game.
Yeah. With that, almost Penta, unofficial Penta. Miami will take this series 2-0, looking amazing on these sort of unconventional champions. They're flexing that they can really play anything.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter whether it be a hyper carry, whether it be a more facilitating pick, and he's going to build it like a hyper carry anyway. He's got that death cap, like you mentioned. He's got all those AP items. And Quager, my God, every time that he pulls out this Ivern, I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then he just pulls off miracles. I
yeah.
just don't get it.
I mean, in that sort of, levels 1 to 8, around the time, he'd be even on like one item with his lane opponent, he can smack people around on that tree pick.
Yeah.
It's really wacky how much power early game the Ivern has, especially with that W passive, being able to get more magic damage on the auto attacks. Now, this is a great great defensive ultimate there from the Zillion, keeping the Jin safe from the diving Warwick, able to layer the curtain call on top of everything else. And just, I think Western Michigan did try to play that front to back. They didn't have that big of a deficit, but Miami just was able to tack back, peel for their carries, and then create an opportunity to go forward and just end this game.
Yeah, and
I,
it really was just the Olaf. But I think the cool thing is that Miami made it about all the members of the team. I think that there was times when Zillion got some really cool highlights. I think that obviously the Ivern speaks for itself. The Maokai probably doing more damage than the Jin, if I had to
yeah,
guess. But man, just really looking cohesive as a unit, playing these team fights out eloquently or
yeah,
excellently. I don't know if
uh,
eloquently was the right word.
elegantly with it.
Elegantly, that's what I was
Yes.
looking for. But yeah, I mean, Miami, once again, just showing why they're on this undefeated tear in ESC.
Yeah, and as we look to the week ahead, I believe that this is going to be our last full week of regular season competition here for ESC League of Legends. Tomorrow we've got our charity stream event in support of Extra Life and Cincinnati Children's Hospital. Tune in for that. We're going to be starting at 11 a.m. Eastern time.
Not 11 p.m.
Not
Don't
11 p.m.
don't
We
yeah.
should not be still live then. My bad. Um, and then on Wednesday we've got our game against Buffalo at 8 p.m. That should be a very, very close one. Buffalo currently third place in the league. Uh,
Very
I,
strong team.
I
Yeah.
believe their only loss may be against Ball State so far.
I'd say that they're as close to a thing as we have as rivals
Yeah.
historically.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For the first 7 years of the program, essentially, first 6 years of the program, we were unable to get a win against the Buffalo League of Legends team. Last spring, we were able to do it. Unfortunately, we were unable to qualify for the playoffs back then because last season only top six qualified, and I think we came in right at number 7. Uh, But we did get over the Buffalo hump last year.
So
We'll
maybe
see.
that's enough to
Yeah,
be like, oh, I'm channeling the same energy, and we're going to do it once again. So we'll see. That should be a really exciting matchup. Make sure you tune in for that as well as the charity stream tomorrow, and it should be
yeah.
really great.
And then the biggest match of the season so far is actually going to be next Saturday at 3 p.m. against Ball State. Both teams may be heading into that matchup undefeated. It's going to see who's going to be seeded first for the ESC playoffs, which will be hosted here on the Miami University campus here in the Armstrong Student Center from April 4th through 6th.
Yeah, all the teams will be traveling here to play in person. Hopefully, we'll see how that shakes up. It's going to be really exciting. We're going to bring in a lot of special guests. It should be really great. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And this has been Miami University's League of Legends team with some more ESC action remaining undefeated.
Yes. I've been James Reach 42 Davis,
And this has been Devin the Doc O'Connor.
and we will catch you next time.